Extremist leftists and radical feminists have elevated Margaret Atwood's dystopian novel, The Handmaid's Tale, and its Hulu adaptation into a sacred emblem of imagined oppression, transforming its red robes and white bonnets into the go-to uniform for political theater. And oh, how curious that the protesters always pick the vibrant red breeder robes of The Handmaid's Tale for their political cosplay, and never the drab gray of the sterile women, the eggless women. I guess victimhood just looks better in scarlet. Since the show's 2017 premiere, activists have donned these costumes to protest everything from abortion bans to judicial reviews, framing themselves as silenced handmaids in a Gilead-like America. This ritualistic cosplay isn't mere symbolism. It's a performative embrace of victimhood, where women silently bow their heads in state capitals, implying patriarchal tyranny lurks around every policy corner. However, this obsession reveals a deeper fixation on grievance rather than empowerment. By likening US elections or healthcare debates to forced breeding rituals, these ideologues amplify supposed fears of regression, often ignoring global realities of true subjugation. So much so that in the US it's become a meme of hyperbolic alarmism, evident in silent vigils against Trump or Kavanaugh. Yet, as some have noted, the costume's flexibility masks a static narrative: eternal female peril demanding perpetual rescue. This self-dramatization sustains a cycle of protest as identity, where victim status trumps tangible wins, turning fiction into a crutch for political inertia. Thus, it's unsurprising that Democrats draw on fictional narratives to amplify their stances and dramatize their grievances. Many extreme leftist ideologies are completely rooted in fantasy, and like The Handmaid's Tale, they have fixated themselves on the Game of Thrones walk of shame. And this is where Queen Cersei Lannister endures public humiliation amid cries of shame. And they have adopted this imagery for their protests. And of course, very unimaginatively, they chant shame, shame, shame as they target their perceived oppressors in their ludicrous kink cosplay rallies. And these theatrical obsessions prioritizing grievance have protesters ironically mimicking the show's mob-like mentality to then signal their own moral superiority. And this obsession with performative victimhood distracts from tangible problems, like the alarming drop in testosterone levels affecting men today. Fortunately, there's a natural way to tackle this. I've been talking on the feminization of men for years now and its detriments to society, with some of my most popular and viral videos on the subject being totally censored. Estrogenic chemicals, poor diets, and sedentary lifestyles are driving a massive drop in testosterone and a massive drop in sperm counts, as well as, of course, other assorted maladaptive traits. But these alarming trends can be fought naturally. Here's Andrew Huberman from Stanford University talking about a plant compound he calls the equivalent DECA on the Joe Rogan Experience.
There are incredible plant compounds out there. Like there's this thing that's now kind of going wild on the internet. I've never tried it, but it's called turkesterone.
Turkesterone?
Yeah, they call it Turk. I did one episode of my podcast all about hormones, and I went deep into this literature, and turkesterone, side by side with DECA or another testosterone derivative, it essentially acts the same way. It increases testosterone and performance and recovery.
How much does it increase it by?
Equivalent.
Really?
So,
this plant compound is equivalent to DECA?
Essentially.
Wow. Yeah. Where do you get this stuff?
People buy it on the internet.
Enter Black Forest's limited edition turkesterone with Tonkat Ali, both natural supplements dubbed the feminization killer. And these two top natural testosterone boosters can help you supercharge your levels. It supports muscle growth, enhances endurance, improves libido, and reduces stress, offering a powerful way to counter environmental factors that may weaken vitality. Have a listen to 5-time Mr. Olympia on this.
Natural supplements that actually have been proven to work, like turkesterone, Tonkat Ali.
Black Forest's turkesterone with Tonkat Ali boosts energy, strength, sleep, and well-being without any of the nasty side effects. And by supporting my sponsors, you support me directly. Hurry and take advantage of Black Forest Supplements' amazing 48-hour promo, buy 2, get 1 free, which is an amazing brand that is dedicated to restoring traditional masculinity and femininity. History does not repeat, but it does rhyme. Politics is fundamentally the process of organizing a collective and furthering its shared interests. But without an organic binding culture, there can be no collective, and therefore there can be no real politics. This is the situation that the United States and pretty much every single Western nation finds itself in after decades of building oikophobic and multicultural societies. Places where people have little in common with those that they share the same living space with, and thus the radical polarization that we are witnessing today. This is not new. Trump's ascent eerily parallels the Roman Republic's twilight, which was a saga of ambition amid decay. Like Julius Caesar's storied legions crashing across the frontiers of Gaul and ultimately across the Rubicon, Trump has waged the modern equivalent: ruthless business conquests, outmaneuvering rival syndicates for lucrative territories and spoils. Caesar then strode back to a crumbling, faction-riven republic, vowing to mend its fissures with iron-willed unity. But the patrician class and gilded senators, much like our own elite, ensnared in their opulent enclaves, recoiled from his raw populism, viewing it as an existential peril to their own privileges. Enraged, they orchestrated shadowy political intrigues, assassination plots veiled in rhetoric and lawfare, unironically, and then ended Caesar on the Ides of March. And this Republican Rome mirrors the lawfare and actual assassination attempts upon Trump. But in our modern scenario, the senatorial class being globalists, well, they also employ a large swath of lumpen dependents and ideological zealots that believe via suicidal altruism and globalist zeal that they can defeat Cheeto Hitler and usher in a Marxist globalist utopia just over the multicultural rainbow. The radical left, those self-righteous activists with their rainbow pronouns and Che Guevara posters, have turned Donald Trump into the ultimate supervillain. To them, he's not just a brash New York real estate developer who reached the White House twice. He's a full-blown fascist dictator, a portly strongman with a spray tan, determined to dismantle American democracy like yesterday's refuse. In their dystopian narrative, Trump is pacing Mar-a-Lago in a tiny red hat, scheming to trample the Constitution while demanding Roman salutes to golden images of himself. It's the material of anxious nightmares for urban professionals and academic ideologues who declare that every statement, gathering, and fast food meal signals an authoritarian takeover. So then, enter the No Kings demonstrations, the leftists' latest outburst of orchestrated outrage, pure political theater scripted for social media virality. Launched in July 2025 and peaking nationwide in October, these events pulled in hundreds of thousands across all 50 states, from urban centers like Los Angeles to rural spots in Iowa. Chants of "No kings, no tyrants" rang out like rehearsed scripts, with participants in updated protest gear and, of course, Handmaids costumes, brandishing placards labeling "Trump equals Hitler" and "Fascism ends here." Of course, coordinated by alliances of progressive groups, women's rights advocates, and socialist networks via nokings.org, the rallies emphasized spectacle over substance. While the rallies were concentrated in major cities such as New York and Washington, D.C., they did reach smaller communities where residents observed the display with detached curiosity. And what about the demographics? Largely middle-aged white women, often drawing from radical feminist circles that frame Trump as the embodiment of patriarchal oppression, a toxic masculinity incarnate, threatening reproductive rights and gender equity. The eggless handmaids making their kink stand against Cheeto Hitler. To the rabid and ideological left, this was the front line against fascism, evidenced by Trump's power grab, which was mobilizing the public, yet it's more kabuki theater, a staged drama diverting from deeper divisions. The core target of this alarmist frenzy, as I would call it, is Trump's rapport with the military, casting him as a would-be autocrat grooming forces for a takeover of the country by reallocating $8 billion to secure active duty paychecks during the government shutdown, ensuring service members receive funds on time. But this is just more Caesarism. His handmaid detractors pontificate to help in his eventual crowning of himself as the American Imperator. To the left, this isn't pragmatism. It's a calculated ploy redirecting funds in defiance of appropriation statutes to foster personal allegiance of the military. Progressive voices on networks like MSNBC portray it as a dictatorial maneuvering, transforming the military into Trump's devoted enforcers, a force unbounded by civilian oversight and ready to suppress dissent. Much of this rhetoric is shaped by radical feminist distrust of a militarized masculinity and of Marxist critiques. Obviously, they overlook that similar adjustments occurred under prior administrations, or that true authoritarians seize power through force, not through physical tweaks. In their narratives, it's the path to imposed order, compensate the ranks, secure their fealty, and suddenly, whoosh, freedoms vanish. But let's just pause this exaggerated, discombobulated leftist wet dream and confront the true crisis afflicting the nation: an eroding superpower, financially insolvent and geopolitically diminished. The US falters not from one leader's maneuvers, but from Imperial overreach, saddled with a $38 trillion debt, fueled by unchecked spending on social programs and foreign entanglements. Geopolitically, the US is being sidelined. China dominates via its debt holdings. Russia defies isolation while advancing in Eastern Europe, and the Middle East remains a volatile quagmire America perpetuates with interventions. Those post-9/11 conflicts, Iraq, Afghanistan, and beyond, have drained $8 trillion, borrowed outright without burdening the elite, yielding chaos, repaid in instability and migration. With 800 bases abroad devouring $886 billion annually from defense budgets, resources are flowing to distant patrols while domestic infrastructure crumbles and veterans struggle. Trump's approach? Declaring enough, withdrawing from draining conflicts, forging Middle East pacts over airstrikes, and pressing allies for fair contributions. For example, in NATO, it's not tyranny, it's essential restraint for a debt-laden giant weary of futile crusades. Thus, branding Trump the democracy-destroying despot is wholly absurd, a deflection from ideologues steeped in radical feminism's victimhood tales and Marxism oppressor-victim binary, who've incidentally long backed policies hollowing out the middle class. These radical leftists and their performative spectacles aren't salvaging the republic, they're diversionary acts amid genuine decline, blind to the encroaching shadows of fiscal ruin and strategic retreat. Of course, Trump has many flaws, and he is a bombastic force of nature, but against the empire's woes, He's the pragmatic voice urging retreat before collapse. And to the handmaids and their delusional tale, your monarch is an illusion and the republic bears the heavier yoke. So what do you think? Please leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. And of course, thank you for watching. And also remember to check out my sponsor for today's video, Black Forest Supplements, and their amazing products. And be the best you can be. With that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.